Yeah.
2019's motorcycle sales figures are now in for the UK, and the general trend is slightly positive with 107,000 bikes sold, meaning that the market is up by 1.6% versus 2018. But there was one manufacturer that made massive gains, and that's Royal Enfield with 2,935 units sold, making them the 11th most popular brand in the UK right now. That's a huge increase of 122% year on year, so in today's video, we're going to take a look at why. But first, you must be interested to know the rundown of the rest of the manufacturers above them, so here's the top 10 brands in reverse order. In 10th place, it's Ducati with 3,119 units, which is down by 5%, with Suzuki 9th and Harley 8th, again both down on the previous year. However, KTM sales were up by almost 12% at 6,460, which is good for 7th place, whilst Lexmoto come in at 6th with 6,603 sales. That might come as a bit of a surprise, but their expansive range of budget 125 scooters seem to be super popular with delivery riders, at least from my casual observations around and about London, so perhaps this is one of the factors driving their sales up. 5th is Kawasaki with 7,045 bikes, staying pretty much flat year on year, and Triumph are down by 5% to 8,036 bikes sold in 4th place. BMW are 3rd, Yamaha 2nd, but Honda remain in the top spot with a massive 21,150 bikes sold, up 6% and giving them almost 20% of the market share. This is no real surprise. They sell about 20 million bikes globally each year and have a varied range encompassing practical scooters for commuting and delivery, small capacity learners, retros, nakeds, superbikes, off-roaders, adventure bikes, and right up to the big tourers like the Goldwing. So Enfield's 3,000 bikes sold doesn't sound like a lot compared to the 21,000 of Honda, but they're a much smaller brand with a much smaller range, so that unprecedented velocity of growth is still pretty impressive and had me wondering what's behind it. DVLA vehicle registration data is currently available for the first 9 months of 2019 and should give us a pretty good idea of their best-selling bikes. Yes, they still sold a couple of hundred bullets, but it's these 3 bikes that seem to have boosted Enfield's fortunes. Their third best-selling bike in the first 9 months of 2019 was the new Continental GT 650, with 239 bikes newly registered on the road. This is the sportier model of their two 650 twins with a cafe racer look that's aided by its clip-on bars, elongated tank and single seat with cowl. It also has a more aggressive riding position than the Interceptor 650, owing to the aforementioned bars and higher rearward foot pegs. It's easy to see why it's sold pretty well for Enfield. It's a handsome bike with some of the vibe of a Triumph Thruxton, but with a starting price of less than $6,000. Admittedly, the performance and equipment specs don't really compare with a Thruxton. 47 horsepower, budget bi-brake brakes and soft suspension, but at this price point it's enough to make it a viable budget cafe racer, and it shows in the sales. But Enfield's second best seller in 2019 is a budget contender in a completely different market segment, and that's their Himalayan adventure bike. Launched in 2018, 700 bikes were sold in its first year and another 600 in the first 9 months of 2019. The Himalayan is an altogether more placid affair than the Continental GT, with an air-cooled 410cc single-cylinder motor capable of just 24.5 horsepower. But it's built with affordability and resilience in mind rather than speed, and for a lot of the work that it'll be doing, it's an acceptable amount of power. Buyers seem to love the simple, no-frills entry point into adventure riding. But the best seller for Royal Enfield in 2019 was the Interceptor 650, and by quite a margin, with about 1,200 new bikes registered in the first 9 months of the year. Almost exactly the same bike as the Continental GT, it's probably sold so well because it offers the same power, character and affordability, but in a more practical package. It uses conventional handlebars as opposed to clip-ons, and the foot pegs are in a less cramped location, making for a more relaxed and spacious riding position. Simple and fun, but with a bit more punch than Enfield's singles like the Himalayan or Bullet, the Interceptor makes for a great retro package for less than $6,000. In fact, if you want to know more about the Interceptor 650, I've linked to an excellent review by my buddy Tim in the description below. What do you guys make of the Enfield 650 twins? They certainly seem to have done their job for the business, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below, as I always enjoy reading your take. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.